I wanted to share one of my parenting hot takes today. And again, like with all of my stuff I say, this is just from my personal experience, not because I have been educated formally in this matter or anything like that. I understand too, especially when it comes to parenting, that every child is different and what works for one may not work for another. That being said, I still want to talk about when parents make chores a punishment, you're only making it harder for yourself because now your child is going to see all chores as something bad or something they have to do when they've been bad. Um, like, if your child, did something wrong and you're like, oh, now you have to do the dishes for a week. Well, now when that week's up or when they're being good, they're going to think they don't have to do dishes. And that is a really bad thing to teach your children. Personally, I only have one child. He's 10. But he knows to bring his dishes to the sink, rinse them off, put them in the dishwasher. And he helps me put dishes away when they're clean, and, he does his own laundry. Sometimes he needs a little bit of assistance in reaching things, but he folds it all himself and puts it away. He makes his own breakfast. He feeds the cats their wet food. He does these chores because he has learned that they're part of living in a house with people you care about. When we care about people or our place that we live, we take care of it. That's just a natural part of being a human. And so I really feel like parents who make chores a punishment are only doing themselves and their child a disservice. Your child is going to grow up to be an adult one day. So if they think that they only have to do their laundry when they've done something wrong, they're going to be wearing dirty clothes. Their house is going to smell bad if they think dishes are only done when you failed. And I know a lot of parents will disagree with me on this, but the proof is in the pudding. My child happily does chores. They're not a punishment to him. If anything, we're learning to be grateful to be able to do chores because that means we have a house. Grateful to do dishes because that means we have clean food, or clean dishes to eat food on. It means we have food in general. And, he's not always happy to do his laundry, but he definitely does not refuse to do his laundry. The grumbling's a little bit, but that's kind of to be expected, I feel like, from a 10-year-old. And, honestly, sometimes when he is feeling that way, I take that as a moment to be like, hey, are you grateful that you have these clean clothes? And of course he's going to be like, yeah. And that helps change the attitude towards doing laundry. Now, I still am not super stoked to do laundry all the time either, but it's a work in progress. And I think a lot of, too, my own issues with chores have come from, well, a complex abusive childhood where chores were simultaneously a punishment and a chance to be degraded for not doing them correctly. But, I grew up being told that, anytime I did dishes, it wasn't good enough. And when I got my first apartment, I didn't do dishes a lot. I felt insecure about my ability to do them, which is dumb because you literally just wash them. But, we all have our own struggles. And, I had a science experiment in my kitchen in my first apartment. I was not taught that chores are a natural consequence of being human, and I really was behind a lot of my peers in that regard. And so, as a parent myself, I feel like the best I can do for my child is, based on skill level, show him which chores he's capable of doing. And I don't just, have him go and do it on his own the first time. We will sit and do a chore together for months before I let him take the reins. It helps build that confidence. And so, especially with my son, who is on the autism spectrum, he loves when things have an order. Sometimes to his detriment. Like, with feeding the cats wet food, he felt like he had to open the can in a specific spot and do it a certain way. And, it made the chore harder for him. And so we have had to reevaluate and readjust, because he wants a specific, repeatable method for his chores. So sometimes you have to be willing to come up with a new script for your child. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't see chores as a punishment. I think that is the hardest part as an adult of doing chores. A lot of us were raised that chores are a punishment. We were raised to think that chores are a punishment. And so we find ourselves avoiding doing them because it feels like something done to us to hurt us in a way. But that's not how it is. That's not what chores really are. Chores are just a natural part of living in a home, being a human, you know? And so I just wanted to share this with other parents. You know, I understand too, it's a lot harder to change, you know, a teenager's mind about chores being something good. So, you know, it's good to get them started young. I mean, when my son was only like 4 or 5, we would practice sweeping together and dusting and stuff. And, you know, he helps cook things. That's why he can make his own breakfast. I mean, he doesn't use the stove yet just because I have anxiety about that. I do think he could probably be capable, and we have talked about, you know, trying more consciously every day to practice with the stove together. I'm just not ready for him to do it alone. But he can use the toaster and the microwave, and he can get himself a breakfast, you know? It makes me sad to see children being taught that chores are a punishment. Because I know firsthand how much that doesn't prepare you for adulthood. So yeah, I wanted to share my 2 cents, and I'm semi-willing to die on this hill just because I've seen it for myself. But again, every kid is different, and so my approach with my child may not work for you, you know, and your child. But I do think that the perspective reframing really, really helps. It's not a punishment, it's just part of life. Giving it that kind of neutral connotation, and even after that being able to build upon and find ways to extract gratitude from chores is, you know, really helpful. So yeah, I wish every parent the best of luck with their children, you know, no matter where you're at, no matter how you've done it. And I know that a lot of us as parents, I've seen a lot of us will have this kind of sunk cost fallacy with how we've been doing things, but it's okay to change it up. It's okay to change your mind, and it doesn't make you less valuable in your child's eyes. If anything, you're teaching them that it's okay to change and grow when you change and grow. We don't need to feel shame over learning better and doing better. We can feel pride, actually, over learning and doing better. So yeah, it's never too late. You don't have to stick to something just because you did it before. You can learn, and you can grow, and you can do better. And so, if you find yourself giving your child chores as a punishment, I want you to think about what you're teaching them subconsciously, that chores only need to be done when you've done something bad. Because that's not true. That's not a reality. And I like to teach my son lessons about reality, not whatever weird, you know, social whatevers we have going on in society right now. Because it's not great. If you look at the masses, it's not going great for everyone. So yeah, I just wanted to share that little tidbit of information, parenting advice, whatever. I hope that you can take my story and make something useful from it in your own life with your own child. Have a good day. Bye.